It is Dr. Sheila Tikku explaining about third year chemistry paper 1 inorganic drawbacks of valence bond theory. Number 1, the first drawback is spectra. Valence bond theory does not get satisfactory explanation about spectra. It does not explain anything about spectra, or it is not efficient to explain the color of the complexes, which is explained through crystal field theory. The second point is magnetic property. The magnetic properties of many of the compounds are not explained by valence bond theory. The most efficient example is nickel cyanide is diamagnetic and nickel chloride is paramagnetic. Why and what is the reason? In nickel cyanide, both the electrons are paired, and in nickel chloride, the electrons are unpaired. What is the story behind this? The story behind this is that the cyanide ligand is very strong ligand and chlorine is a weak ligand, which makes it paramagnetic and which makes cyanide strong and diamagnetic. The next point is the geometry. The geometry cannot be explained by valence bond theory because in nickel cyanide is square planar and nickel chloride is octahedral. The reason lying behind this is that nickel cyanide cannot have the geometry of tetrahedral, as due to the presence of cyanide group, the electrons in nickel get paired up and one d orbital is empty, which cooperates with the sp2 orbitals to make a square planar complex of dsp2. And in nickel chloride, the two electrons are unpaired and the d orbital gets completely filled, due to which the next orbital sp3 is taken into consideration and hence the complex becomes tetrahedral. These consequences and story of these octahedral or tetrahedral or square planar complexes is not explained by valence bond theory. Next point is the type of different hybridization. The type of different hybridization, we have two examples. One is iron hexaamine hexaaqua iron 2, and the other is hexacyano iron 2. The first complex is having hybridization sp3 d2 and the other one is having d2 sp3. The reason lying behind this is that water is a weak ligand and cyanide is a strong ligand. In the presence of water, the electrons of iron are unpaired and the inner d orbital is completely filled, whereas in the presence of cyanide, the electrons are paired and the inner d orbital has two space, in which the hybridization becomes d2sp3. This explanation is not given by valence bond theory. The next point is deformation in geometry. It does not explain anything about the metal and the ligand bond, or when the metal has changed pH, and according to the changed pH, the geometry of the complex changes. That is, many square planar complexes get changed into octahedral complexes as the pH is increased. This is not explained by valence bond theory. The next point is the stability of copper 2 complexes. The stability of copper 2 complexes. Copper has a D9 system, and when copper makes square planar complexes, one electron of the inner d orbital shifts into the outer d orbital, and but by shifting also the copper complex is less reactive and it doesn't mix many compounds. This is because copper is a small element and the attraction force of nucleus on the outer orbitals is great, whereas in cobalt, which has a d7 system, when the electron is transferred to the outer orbital, it becomes highly reactive. This is not explained by valence bond theory. The next point is too much stress on metal orbitals. Mainly, valence bond theory has main stress on metal atoms. It explains about metal bonding, metal orbitals, but it does not explain about the presence of ligand, the bonding of ligand. Next point is thermodynamic and kinetic aspects. Valence bond theory does not show any explanation about enthalpy and other kinetic aspects, and it does not explain about SN1 and SN2 reactions which undergo thermodynamic aspects. अरे गुड़िया